All right, so we have Justina JL in the building. How you feeling?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Appreciate you coming through. And
Thanks for having me.
nah, for sure, for sure. So, before we even talk about anything, let's just have a quick temperature check. How you doing? How you feeling? We're almost at the end of the week. Summertime's almost here. Weather's beautiful. What's popping?
Well, I'm in a strapless shirt, so the weather's definitely nice. First time in months, but I'm feeling good.
Dope.
I'm here for a single job, so I'm definitely feeling good, you know.
Dope. So, let's start from the beginning. In regards to your name, Justina JL, what does the JL stand for?
Okay, so the JL, you're putting me on the spot. My middle name.
Okay.
My middle name is pronounced Jody Lee.
Okay.
And I just thought Jody Lee was too much for a name, so I just made a JL. So it's Justina JL.
Okay. And, most artists don't usually go with their government name. They usually have a nickname or something in regards to their name. So what made you go that route?
Honestly, I was sitting down for some time when I decided I wanted to do music. And I was trying to figure out a name for myself, something different. And I actually only wanted JL.
Okay.
And I signed up for DistroKid back then, and they didn't allow it.
Wow.
They said there were too many JLs on Spotify and Apple Music. So I'm like, okay, I want to keep JL. So I'll just put Justina JL or just JL.
Okay.
And I stuck with Justina. So
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. Let's get into where you're coming from. So you're originally from the Bahamas. Kind of describe growing up in the Bahamas and when you came to the city and kind of transitioned.
Growing up in the Bahamas is a completely different atmosphere than Toronto, completely. I was from a small island, Nassau, Bahamas, and a lot of people think of the Bahamas as this beautiful getaway. Don't get me wrong, it's good for tourism, but if you're going deeper into the local areas, it's rough.
Okay.
It's like what you would see on TV sometimes with Jamaica or Trini, but the Bahamas is the same.
Okay.
So it is definitely more low-key than Toronto, I would say. So it was a bit of a cultural shock when I came here, not being around so many people and that fast-paced city life. The Bahamas is more laid back. On the weekend, you go to the beach, get daiquiris, eat conch salad, whereas here it's just partying and just nonstop go. So it is definitely different.
Okay. So, and when did you move to Canada or Toronto in general?
5 years ago. So I moved in 2017 on New Year's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I came in the midst of snow.
Okay.
So that was the biggest shock.
Okay. So moving to a new city, was Toronto the first city you came to when you moved?
Mississauga.
Okay. So Mississauga. So how you said Bahamas is a little different from, Toronto. How was the transition for you? Were you able to make new friends? Were you able to find the spots? Were you able to get into the hobbies that you were doing back home? Break that down.
It was very depressing. The first few months. I moved here. My mom's Canadian.
Okay.
So when I came here, it was really only her and my siblings who I knew.
Yeah.
And I actually moved here with my son and my ex-husband.
Okay.
So we basically all stayed close together. It wasn't really any outside friends until I started finding other Bahamians. And then I'd say about 8-9 months later, my best friend from the Bahamas, he actually moved here.
Oh, wow.
So then that was company, and then we started meeting other Bahamians and having gatherings and every Thanksgiving, and yeah, so the group became bigger and bigger and bigger over time. So I would say in the first year and a half, it was good, and then I started to venture out, meet people at work, coworkers. I used to go to a lot of basketball leagues, to watch and stuff, to support my ex. So I would meet people and then meet their girlfriends, and then you understand. It just kept growing. So,
okay. So you moved to a new country, a new city. Was music the first thing that you latched onto, or was it something else?
No, I was a shower singer for sure.
Oh wow.
Definitely a shower singer. My friends and family would always tell me like, yo, you freestyle a lot. You can like pull up a beat and just like, you know, throw it down. Like, why don't you try to do music? And I'm like, no. I would even get in arguments with them. I'm like, yo, can I please just be a shower singer or a karaoke singer and leave? Like, I'm talking about real life heated arguments.
Yeah, yeah.
And I started to take music serious. Not serious, but I started to do more music like publicly about a year ago. I would say last year, January. When I separated from my ex-husband. And it was basically like therapy for me. But to say actually take it serious was when I started at Abstract Studios, where I am now, in November. And that's when I decided to like, you know, I might have like something in this music, so.
For sure, for sure. So, you know, when making music, you also have like doubters. Like, I'm sure people were telling you, yeah, you know, music is cool, but like, you might not make it, you might not make money. Like, so how did you overcome all of that?
Respectfully, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't really care for like negative comments and stuff like that. Like, I think the main concern where people tried to like just turn me away was my age. Because I am 28. So they're like, oh, like you started like really late. But the way I look at it, I can start now and see if something comes out of it at 28, or I cannot and always I can be 40, 50 and be like, damn, I wonder if I did music when I was 28, if I would have that one hit and be like blowing up, you know?
You never know. You don't want to live with regrets.
So here I am. I have nothing to lose, right?
For sure, for sure, for sure. And, you know, I feel like, you know, the music that you have put out so far is very good music, and based on the feedback, like, a lot of people are fucking with it. So I'm glad that you made that choice and you continue to put out music. So hopefully you never stop.
No, it actually made a big difference. I won't lie. Like, putting it out, I wasn't expecting to get that much love and that much feedback and reshares and comments. Like, it's been crazy. I've had, you know, guys, they'll slide in your DM and be like, oh, I fuck with your music, it's so dope. Okay, what's the first line? They don't know because they didn't listen. Yeah. But to have actually like other females hit my DM and be like, yo, I love what you're doing, you sound nice, that means a lot, you know? So
For sure, for sure. And, you know, right now we're talking about True Say. So, you know, since we're already on that topic, let's start off with the inspiration behind that specific song. Like, where did you pull inspiration from to create that?
So I was sitting in the studio with my manager, Anté. He's also the owner of Abstract Studios. And we were listening to a few beats. And I heard this one culture type vibe, Caribbean vibe beat, which is True Say's beat. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I wasn't sold on it. And he played it again and again. He was like, you got this, like, bring out something with like your accent, like your flavor, like that Caribbean, you know? And it turned out great. Like, it wasn't really like a big inspiration behind it. It was just, I sat in front of the mic, nothing was written, just kept replaying it. I did a little melody and then I went from there. And I think, if I'm correct, I think it was later on at the end of the session, heading towards the end, Young Tory had a session, and he walked in, he heard it, he liked it, and he said, yo, I fuck with your music. And I'm like, you fuck with it so much, put a verse on. Wasn't expecting him to actually do it, you know? But he did. He said, okay, get up. He sat down, he did his thing, he killed it, and that's how True Say was made.
Yo, you know, so actually, like, listening to that song, I feel like Young Tory also brings value to that song.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he adds color. Like, you know, you do your own thing, but like when he you know, added his input onto the song, it took it to the next level. So that was definitely, you know, a good collaboration between the both of you.
Yeah, I agree.
In regards to the video, like, how did that come about?
So the video went nowhere as planned at all. Our venue canceled on us last minute, the day before. So my videographer John and I were losing our mind. I was laying on the floor trying to figure out like where the hell, like the music video is canceled. I was being a drama queen, I won't lie. I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
we're just not doing a music video. He said, chill, JL. I got this. I'm like, okay, so if you got this, where are we going? Mm-hmm. And I remember that there was this one lounge called the Junkanoo Shack. And it's a lounge that's actually a Bahamian owned from a girl who's also from the Bahamas as well.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to the Junkanoo Shack. Shout out to you. I was like, oh my God, that would actually be perfect. Because it would be my first music video, and to actually have a lounge like we were looking for. And it's based off of where I'm from. Because they had, like, you know, the flamingos on the wall painted. They had the Bahamian colors. It was a whole vibe, a whole theme. So we went there and we spoke to her, and she was like, yeah, of course. Like, you know, she supported me, and we did it there. And it turned out great. A lot of people who were supposed to come didn't show up. That was another last minute problem.
Yeah.
But it turned out perfect. Like, in the end, it was just what we needed.
Dope. You know, you did mention, you know, about like not writing your verse for that in regards to like being in the studio. So like when you create, what's your creative process? Do you have like writers that write for you? Do you go in the booth and kind of flow? Do you get like different things from different people? Like
Well, my writing has changed. So before, I could only write because, like I said, I was going through a separation. So it was therapy for me. So usually I would only write when I was sad or in my feelings. I would literally sit down, drink wine, and write. And then I met Anté at Abstract, and he changed my whole writing flow completely, and it's been like nonstop very well for me. So now my way of like songwriting, I wouldn't necessarily go into the booth. I would pull up the mic in the chair, like right next to him. We'll find a beat based on my mood that day. So it makes sense, right? Because if you write a sad song and then that day you're feeling happy, you won't have that same sad emotion into that song.
I agree.
So, you know, so usually if I go to record, he'll be like, hey, JL, so what's the mood today? You sad? You angry? You want to beat someone up? Like, what's the mood, you know?
For sure.
And then we would just do take after take and then just punch in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're more pulling from emotion and you're kind of painting a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty dope. You know, I'm listening to you speak, and I'm hearing a lot of conversation about like your manager and Abstract. So, how instrumental have they been in your musical career so far?
Huge. I honestly don't think I would have tried to take it like on a professional level if I hadn't met them.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it's big to say, right?
Yeah,
but it's true.
Sure.
Like, they're a whole support team. Like, even the videographer gets on my nerves sometimes, you know, but love him nonetheless. Anté, he's more than a manager, you know. He shows you that he genuinely cares. And other people who record at Abstract, I'm sure they can say the same thing. Abstract isn't like a studio. It feels like home. So, and you would hear like a lot of artists around Toronto, they'll tell you the same thing. And I honestly think the environment helps on how serious you take music. Because if you have a crappy environment, you won't be happy, and I don't feel like the music will come out as good. For
sure. So let's talk about your sound. Like, I know like True Say was more on a Caribbean R&B kind of vibe. The freestyle that you did with us was more on a hip hop bar bounce type of vibe. So like, talk about like your sound and, you know, what you want people to kind of know you for when they listen to your music. Are you trying to give them R&B? Are you trying to give them Caribbean vibes? Like,
at first I wanted to just be known as an R&B singer. Okay. Because even now, none of my friends like me to have the aux cord, because I listen to like early 2000s, late 90s music. Like, you wouldn't think so, but I do, you know? But I think I would just want people to label me as an artist, not a R&B, not hip hop, not because I can rap, I can do hip hop, I can do R&B. I can give you Caribbean vibes sometimes, you know? I just want to reach like all levels, all aspects. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, so what's your favorite though? Like,
my favorite is still R&B. My favorite is still R&B, but if you're going off of my personality, it's like, what words? If you know me, it'll be like, oh, she probably raps based off of my personality. Oh, wow. But R&B would be the first pick.
For sure. Let's talk about like, as a woman, making music in the city. Talk about the barriers and some things that you find difficult. Like, is it hard working with men because they try to hit on you? Break down some difficulties that you faced as a female artist.
It gets complicated. It does, because a lot of times you don't know if the guy is genuine and actually wants to collab, or he's trying to use it as an opportunity to try and make a move. I find a lot of guys, don't get me wrong, I found a lot of guys that are very respectful and they're dedicated to music, and that's exactly what they want. But you have a few that is really only using music to talk to you. Like I said, I've had guys slide my DM and say, oh, I really fuck with your music. And this was around a time where I had no music up.
Wow.
I was still branding myself. So I'm like, interesting. What songs did you like? And they're like, all of them, to be honest. I'm like, all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, something I don't know. I guess there's some songs out there that I don't know. So it's like, you never know who to believe. But as a female, I think you just have to stay focused. You can't, and try your best not to mix business with pleasure, because that fucks things up a lot.
For sure, for sure. I agree. So what's your views on the Toronto scene in general? Do you feel like we're getting better? Do you feel like our sound is kind of one way? Like, what's your views on that?
Okay, so I don't cap. So let me get comfortable for this. Some people might, when I first came to Toronto, like I said again, culture shock. I heard some of the music and I'm like, yo, this is shit. Like, what? Like, different sound, I'm just like, no. But when I started to actually do music, instead of just listening to listen, but actually taking what they're saying, and then some artists, their story, their background, like where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I actually love Toronto music now, like especially the rappers. Like I would actually sit in my car and play their music, even the ones who aren't like booming. It's good.
For sure.
And I think it's really, a lot of artists are really underrated in Toronto.
I agree.
Our sound is different, of course, like the accent, everything, but it's good. So I can say like I genuinely like it.
Okay. Do you feel like as an artist within the city, do you feel like you have to move out of the city in order to get poppin', or staying in the city, you can make it happen if you stay in the city? What's your thoughts?
I'm kind of in the middle. I feel like you can stay in the city and still get known, but at the same time, if you really, really, really want to make a big name for yourself, I would say you would have to venture out. Because it's sad to say a lot of people in your hometown will only fuck with you if the US approves of it. And it's not right, but that's how it is sometimes, But some people can make a name for themselves right here in the city. And for me, I would want my fan base to come out of the city first, where I'm from, and then also move on to the US. But I would still want the support of like fellow Canadians and stuff supporting me. And also like back home in the Bahamas as well.
For sure.
Now it is definitely easier to get known here than in the Bahamas. So.
Why do you say that?
Bahamians don't support each other. Yo, it is what it is. I'm looking at my Spotify numbers and I'm actually like hurt.
Really?
I expected way more people from the Bahamas to support.
Love.
Yeah, but I know already, even like with some of our NBA players who are from the Bahamas, they never really showed love until they became exactly that, an NBA player, right?
Yeah,
and then they're all like, oh, 242 Bahamas. But at the same time, I still represent where I come from heavy.
For sure. It's funny because I feel like every city feels the same way. You know what I mean? Because Toronto people say the same thing. Like,
yeah. No, I've heard it. But I feel like Toronto people still support more than they do back home on the island. They support once they see you get out and they're like, oh, Bahamas, 242 to the world. And it's just like, okay. But...
So, I'm thinking a little bit, and, I'm looking at artists that have been able to, like, bridge the island and, like, the Western North American culture together and make it, like, when you think about Rihanna and when you think about Nicki Minaj, like, they have nice audiences when it comes to the U.S. market, but they also have, like, a very loyal
fan base back home.
Back home. So what are some things that you're doing to achieve the same success?
Well, right now, in terms of going back home, I haven't done yet, but I plan to in the summer, hopefully, if COVID doesn't strike again.
For sure.
I plan on like going home, doing shows, like interacting with people, doing like mini concerts and stuff, even if it's like at a low like budget or sometimes even like free just for back home, you know?
For sure.
Doing features with fellow artists back home because there is a lot of talent back home, singing wise and rapping. So I would like to do like collabs. I'm trying to do even like a collab with Bahamas Men. I don't know if you remember the song Who Let the Dogs Out?
No, of course.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to like, you know, maybe do like a remix with them and stuff, like bring it back up. I think that'll definitely put the city back out there as well.
For sure.
And try to get my fan base up back home.
For sure. So you mentioned about collaborations. How about, you know, collaborating with other females within the city? Like, that's not something that's, you know, highlighted enough.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're open to? Is there a couple people that...
Yeah. I actually have a few collaborations with a few females. I haven't released their names yet in the city.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Watch out.
Yeah, there will be some pretty dope female features. I'm all for like, you know, woman empowerment and stuff, so...
For sure.
Definitely. Can't forget the ladies.
So, you know, in regards to like, as an artist... sometimes people say it's kind of difficult working with females because you got their hair, you got their makeup, you got their personality, like it's a lot. So we hear what other people say, like men in the industry say about working with females, but we want to hear your perspective as a female. How is it, you know, dealing with men in the industry?
Dealing with men in the industry, it's a vibe.
Okay.
It's a vibe. It depends on the guy. It honestly depends on the artist. I've met some gangsters.
Okay.
Who are the most respectful. And you wouldn't think it, but they're so respectful, even with music, and they're actually focused on that music, on that grind, you know? And then you meet some guys working with them, they're a pain in the ass. They will stress you out. They will put you through the ropes, you know? Don't call any names, you know? But nonetheless, you have, like I said, you have good guys to work with, and you have some guys that just are plain stress.
More difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it goes both ways, right? Females, I'm probably sure some of them might say I'm a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm not, but, you know, they could say that, you know.
For sure. So let's talk about, like, your music. What are you currently working on? What's the plan for the rest of the year?
So I'm dropping another single April 15th, I believe. I'm not sure, so don't hold me to that.
Okay.
But I do plan to drop one more single, and then I am releasing an EP this summer.
Dope. Are you able to share the title of the single?
No.
Okay. Are you able to say if my next single is with Jay Brown. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So that's another interesting artist because he really had a nice run in the city, like, you know, around like 2015, 2016. So just, you know, explain working with him on that single.
It was amazing. Jay Brown has actually become like a really good friend.
That's good.
Very respectful, very in tune with music. I'd say when we did the song, I was actually just at work that night at the studio. He came in, he was like, yo, let's write a song. And I'm like, okay. Cause like we spoke about it.
Yeah.
We went upstairs, we listened to a few beats. We couldn't find the right beat. We listened to beats probably for about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then it was just this one beat. And we looked at each other and both of us were like nodding our head. I was like, all right. Cause we were going for that old school Ja Rule Ashanti type of flavor, you know? That back and forth, like what they used to do back in the day. Yeah, so we found one, so, you know?
That's dope. And is there a video coming with that?
There's a video coming with that.
Dope. We're definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you.
You know, and the EP, are you able to give us any tidbits in regards to that?
The EP is gonna be with 6 songs.
Okay.
It's all features.
Okay.
So some of them are pretty known artists that are going to be on the EP. Actually, all of them are known artists.
Dope.
Yeah, very talented. And I think each artist it's a different story, like different vibe, different connection. So this EP is gonna be a great one.
For sure, for sure.
Without saying too much about it.
For sure. And this is gonna be your first body of work, correct?
Yes.
Dope.
But I can tell you one of the songs on the EP is gonna be called Bahamasita. So I didn't want to go with the average Bahama Mama, you know. So I did Bahamasita.
No, for sure. And I'm sure people will be looking forward to that song.
And it's gonna be featuring a Spanish artist.
Dope.
Yeah.
In the city or like
in
out
the
of
city?
town? Dope. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Hopefully it's fire. Hopefully it's vibes. And, you know, hopefully we can continue to connect and watch you grow as an artist. So is there anything that you'd like to leave the people with?
Just I hope that you continue to like my music and follow me on my journey because it just started and it's nowhere close to finish.